Hey everyone, welcome back. It is time for another wrestling review. We are winding down the year with a couple more shows left. There's this one, and tune in tomorrow for the ROH show. But before we do that, let us get one thing out of the way. Guys, 14 subs away and 3 weeks. We can do this, guys. Let us get to it. Let's get 250 before the end of the year. It would really help this channel out a lot. So with that out of the way, welcome back, Campo, the man who reviews movies, TV shows, and the Bionic Elbow wrestling events as well. Campo, welcome back.
Hey, that's me. I'm here.
It's a me.
It's a me, Campo.
Yeah,
I can do that.
You can do that. So today we are reviewing the NXT Deadline event, the first of its kind, with a intriguing new match type.
Intriguing is not the word I would use. Very stupid is the word I would use.
See, we're at opposites. I like the concept. The way it was executed, not so much.
I don't... Okay, I mean, let's talk about it first.
Okay, so it's a brand new match type called the Iron Survivor Challenge. It basically takes an Iron Man match. Instead of 2 people in the ring, it's 5 people, but it's kind of like the Royal Rumble, where every 5 minutes somebody else enters the ring. And if you get a pinfall, you have to spend 90 seconds in a penalty box. So 2 people start the match. Every 5 minutes, a new participant enters. So by the 50-minute mark, I think everybody's in the match. And the match itself only lasts 25 minutes. So you have to score as many pinfalls as possible within that 25-minute period. So it would be advantageous to you to not be one of the last person in, but somewhere around 3 or 4.
Okay, so here's my thought process here. Had you done this match with all 5 people starting in the ring, I think it makes more sense. Because the fact that a pinfall makes it so you have to spend 90 seconds in the penalty box.
Yeah.
It is strange to me because I think it just works better with everyone as a whole. Because imagine there's 5 people in the ring, someone gets pinned, that guy's in the box, and now there's 4 people. Whereas when you're doing it the other way, there could be just 2 people in the ring, and I understand this is pre-planned, but there could be 2 people, one guy gets pinned, and for the whole 5 minutes now we're waiting because there's nobody in the ring. And I know that's not going to happen, but
that's not going to happen because
it's a possibility.
It is a possibility.
And it also takes away from the 2 guys who beat the crap out of each other for 15 minutes before the last guy gets in the ring.
Yeah.
I think it works more for me as if
all
everyone's in. And it's not that the gimmick is bad. It could just have been the execution in both of these matches just didn't work for me. We'll talk about that more as we go.
Go along.
I just feel like the general idea, like you said, is fine. I just think the execution here, I don't really like it. If you're gonna do the timed coming out, get rid of the penalty box.
Yeah. Because this way, if you pin somebody right away, they can pin that person too, kind of thing, and they can fight over the pin or something like that.
Exactly.
So yeah, I could see that. Like, I mean, it's a first-time event. I'm sure the rules can change, I guess, as the event goes along, if they even bring it back. But I mean, I'm just happy that there's a new match type, something different. Like it's not the same old, because Money in the Bank's getting stale, Elimination Chamber is getting stale. TLC,
I agree. It all is. You know what's a good idea? Last thing I'll throw out there. Make this like 10 people, and make it every 2 minutes someone comes out. So, because I think more people is way more hectic. The fact that with 5 people, one guy could get 5 pinfalls, I mean, the winner should have 1 or 2. Like, you know what I mean?
Or have an even number, like 6 or 8.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that could work. An even number would work. So, Perez, Roxana Perez, and Zoe Stark start off the match. I thought Stark was going to win this all.
To be honest with you, I thought they were going to let Jade win.
Yeah.
And that's just
your thought?
But I mean, they seem to favor her quite a bit.
But your top women, who I think should have been in this match, were not in this match.
No, to be honest with you, I wasn't a fan of any of these wrestlers.
Yeah.
It was an awkward... This entire pay-per-view was kind of an awkward situation for me.
Yeah. like the only big name you had, well, I mean, we'll get into that later, but there were a few big names, but not really. So it's Perez and Zoe Stark to start off, and then you had Cora Jade, and then Indy Hartwell and Kiana James also are participants in this match.
And there's something I'm catching on to. Like, obviously, you know, I'm not a week-to-week guy, especially for WWE. I'm starting to catch on to this trend now that this is like the third or fourth pay-per-view. I watched Bash at the Beach, so or a Great American Bash. So this is the fourth NXT like event that I've seen, and I'm catching on to a theme. Anytime that there's more than two people or two teams in an event, it's just a chain of individual spots where one person, then the next person, then the next person, then the next person, and there's no one ever really winning the match. It's just a constant chain, and as soon as the chain ends, it starts again.
Yeah.
And I don't like that because it feels like I'm just watching like a dance recital, waiting to find out who wins at the end. It's already predetermined, which it obviously is. But
always is, yeah. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's very true. Like it was a weird setup. They're making Perez look weak in this one off to start because Zoe Stark pins her almost immediately because she got 2 pins like right away.
And I want to say she's not the best wrestler in this group, obviously, but she probably has the highest ceiling in this group. But she has that Alexa Bliss factor that I don't like, where nothing that she does looks like it does any damage.
It doesn't look impactful. Yeah, very true. Kiana James was in next. Kiana James, she's the worst performer in this match.
Yeah, by a long shot.
By a long, she did not deserve to be there. Then that's when Zoe got the first pin on on Perez. Sorry. Cora Jade is in next, and Jade right away gets a pin on her as well. Like it was like almost immediately. Like Roxana Perez took like so many falls. She took at least 3 of the falls in this match. So she took 3 of the falls. Yeah. Now, if they did it as a win-loss record, she would have lost.
Yeah. I think that's a good thing. That's another good thing they should add. If you're the one that gets pinned, you lose one of your pins.
You lose a point. Yeah. Absolutely. I'd agree with that. I'd go with that.
I think that makes it far more interesting.
Yeah, it does, because if you're up 3-3, like you have 3 and the next person has 2, and that person pins you, you go down to 2 and they go up to 3.
That changes the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Like this match, not the type, this actual match,
right?
Once again, favored the stupid feud between
Jade and Perez.
And didn't
a little bit of Indy Hartwell too, because there's that whole Jade between her and
but it
Perez.
kind of didn't really pay attention to those other 3 wrestlers. It did a little bit, I'll give you that, but like for the most part, it was like, even with the announcing, it was constantly about Cora Jade and Perez. And listen, now with the new stuff and I'm going to talk about this specifically later, but Booker T's like a pervert, and
completely,
and it's weirder now because his whole
not in a funny,
about how it's
not
like
in a funny Jerry Lawler.
She's like my daughter. I raised her. I'm the one that trained her since the beginning. But then you keep saying these things, and it's like you're not making it look better. You've only made it look worse now.
Yeah. So it's so weird, but then Indy Hartwell comes into the ring and boom, she pins Perez right away too. So it's making you like, I don't like the beating of the person. Like for the end of the match, I'll let you guys know now, it's Perez that ends up winning this with 2 pinfalls, but you made her look so weak for the first 2/3 of this match that her winning didn't feel like a special moment. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So that's one thing I didn't like.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think it matters who won this match. It wouldn't have been a special moment. This wasn't a very good match.
No, and that's the thing. It should feel like a special moment.
And
wasn't Perez like? No, it was Hartwell that was the last minute addition, right?
Yeah. And with the chain of events like that this match had, and like the story that's behind it in the ring, it didn't tell any story.
No.
There was no impact. There was no emotion to this match. It was just spot to spot. And even with the big spot 1-1-1-1 scenario that NXT likes to do, it wasn't entertaining. Like,
No.
I wouldn't call this a bad match.
The last scramble in the last 2-3 minutes was good.
Yes, but the match has already been 25 minutes at this point.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's
very
like,
true.
I don't want to sit here and say it was bad, because we've seen far worse matches, but like at the same time, it's like I wasn't even entertained by this match.
But even again,
kept looking at the watch, like,
last night we rewatched the Kairi Iwatani match again,
and like we'll get to other things. We also watch Ring of Honor, and I mean, you can't even compare anything in this event to either of those two events.
No, absolutely not. Roxana, it was a good last 5 minutes. Perez gets the pin on Jade with 2 minutes left. That kind of creates that mad scramble where she's running around the ring and everybody's trying to get a pin. But I know they're pushing Perez hard on this one. I even think they may have Perez overthrow Rose.
Not yet, but yes, I agree.
She will be the one to overthrow Rose, because the way they're pushing Perez, they're pushing her hard.
I think, don't be surprised.
And I think Booker has a lot to do with it.
Yeah. And I think, and you have Shawn Michaels and you have Triple H, who love NXT.
Right.
I think we're going to get a different change here come WrestleMania. I think there's going to be more of a focus on titles, seeing how the other companies have just pure titles.
Ring of Honor had 6 title matches on that show.
Every single pay-per-view we've watched recently has been a title fest, minus WWE. And I think he's catching on to that. And at WrestleMania, don't be surprised if you see Braun Breaker defending the NXT title, and Liv Morgan maybe fighting Roxanne Perez, or Roxana. What is it? Roxanne?
Yeah, Roxana Perez.
Roxana Perez for the
Mandy Rose,
women's title, because I it's just adding more important matches to the card, rather than Stone Cold versus Kevin Owens, which was completely irrelevant, even though I liked it.
Yeah, or kind of like the match that followed this one, which was Isla Dawn versus Alba Fire, the match of the Scotswomen.
And played.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
They played the story up for this.
Yeah. They've known each other for a long time, and and
it started at the last thing that we watched, and it's continued to go. I don't know, man. You tell me about this match.
This was one of the better matches on the show.
I'm gonna hardly disagree with you.
Really?
Yeah, I think the gimmicky, like, horror thing of it was so silly, and not like in a fun way.
Okay, that's what I was gonna say. It was good up until that gimmicky part with the referee spitting the black liquid from. That's when I'm like, okay, you were ruining a decent match by adding that supernatural element to it.
And Ela Fisher got beat up for the whole match.
Yeah, the Jon Moxley treatment.
Yeah, she got beat up for the whole match and then didn't even really do anything to make a comeback. Just the referee started spitting black goo, and then she won the match.
She won the match, yeah.
And it's like, another thing too. What's the girl's name? The red hair one. I always forget her name.
Alba Fire.
Alba Fire. So I watched a match recently with her on Main Event and on NXT as well. Just like playing around with the network. And I'm realizing that she does have a raw talent for wrestling, but she doesn't know how to work with other wrestlers. That the reason the Mandy Rose match was not good was because of her. She can individually be good, but she doesn't know how to.
She needs someone to lead her in the match. She needs someone like.
Kind of. And at the same time, it's like she doesn't know how to make you look good. She only knows how to do her moveset. So when the whole match is just her doing her moves and you being forced to bump the whole match, it just doesn't work.
Kind of like unlike the other one, like Blair Davenport, where she actually looked good in that 3-way match.
Yeah, exactly. And so the situation here is, once again, it's not that this was a terrible
Blair
match.
Davenport was also dating Will Ospreay, and she probably learned from the best. Well,
but the execution of this match was poor.
Yeah,
it didn't the story there. Even with all the backstory to this, the in-ring had no emotion. There was nothing there. It was just like a regular NXT women's match that meant nothing. Yeah. And
But like you said, though, like there was nothing worthwhile on this card. Like other than the Braun, like, yes, I get it. This show was based around those two brand new match types.
Yeah.
But you could have done like a 3-way match between Mandy Rose, Isla Dawn, and Alba Fire.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not to take away from these two, because I understand these two have been around and they have like a following, but and surprisingly, they just didn't work well together.
Yeah. And the thing is, too, this match also means nothing because they're not getting a #1 title shot because Roxana Perez won the previous match and she's getting in January. So, yeah, like I said, I was okay with it up until like the whole supernatural bullshit, and then after that, I just like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
with this match.
it was a fine match. It's like,
yeah,
you know how I am. If this is a pay-per-view, you better give me pay-per-view quality stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want to see a regular. This whole thing, even with the stipulation matches, felt like an episode of NXT. It wasn't any better.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I know a lot of people really love NXT, and I'm not here to be like, oh, screw
NXT,
this.
I don't want to say there's a nostalgia to it, but like there is. Like this is not the NXT of 5, 6, 7 years ago when it was.
But you can see the crowd believes that it is. The people that are there in the arena have that same feeling that this is my NXT and I'll never not like it. But like I'm watching this and I'm like, if WWE did not own this brand, they would not exist anymore. They would have went bankrupt so fast because the product is so nonsensical.
Yeah.
Like it's written by children. That's how it feels.
Yeah. And you could tell it's missing something from when Regal left a year ago. And I think
it's going to get back.
He's going to get back. That's in a video. I don't know if we're going to do that next week or the week after. I think it's next week we're going to be doing that. We'll definitely be touching on that. But yeah, Isla Dawn goes over with Mojo Jojo spooky Ooga Booga stuff.
But I think both of them are actually good wrestlers.
There's raw talent there, and they just need to be groomed better.
Yeah, they that's fair. That's a good way.
They need more. They need better
more
direction.
Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, they need better direction. Third match of the night was New Day versus Pretty Deadly. Guys, hate me all you want, but I'm just not a fan of the New Day.
Okay, well, also hate me all you want because I also am not a fan of the New Day, and I think
overrated. Kofi's
yes.
Kofi's good, but Xavier Woods does not deserve to be there. I'm sorry, I don't know whose dick he's sucking to get there, but
whoa, but it's like a force right now. Without having Big E, they have no choice but to use Xavier Woods. Which, if anybody noticed, in the era of leading up to Big E winning the championship and then him having it, Xavier Woods was pushed so far into the back. He wasn't even.
He was a non-factor. He was a non-factor. Yeah,
he didn't even count anymore. And not to mention, right before that, he had the injury. He hurt his leg or something, I believe. So there was like no Xavier Woods for the longest time, and it was rolling. And for me, this feels strange.
Yeah,
to have this match. Because
a tag team that you want to push in Pretty Deadly, you would think like you'd put them like, okay, take a match that we saw last month in the Will Ospreay match that we saw at the historic crossover. He made him look so good. And he put him over so much by letting him get all his offense in. This was just more of a comedy spot fest.
Yeah, and
the title felt like it meant nothing.
Like I said, it starts off by like, they're twerking. And by the way, I like Pretty Deadly.
They're a decent tag team.
I think they have really good chemistry together as a
they
kind
of have like that the almost like the Rockers kind of meets like the Freebirds.
But they're like a real tag team.
Yeah,
they're not two singles wrestlers slapped together and called a tag team.
Like they dress the same, they do tag team moves, like,
but it's like they did the twerking thing, and I'm not going to be like, oh, it's not funny, this is so stupid, but like the crowd is full of old men and adults, and they're all cheering for this, and like as if, but
this is the funniest thing ever.
They're putting on a show that's like Polka Dot Door, and it's a crowd full of 50-year-olds, and I'm like, what is happening?
It didn't make sense.
It's very strange to me. Like this is the first event where I'm really starting to notice these things about NXT, where it's like popping out at me that I understand why people don't like NXT right now.
Yeah. It needs help. It definitely needs help.
But okay, spoilers.
And I even put this. I put Pretty Deadly are a really decent tag team, but
they are.
But why can't they put over a team like this? Like this is what I don't understand. Like,
so
the New Day
New Day wins. Let's just say that first.
Yeah, the New Day are the new NXT tag team champions. But even if New Day winning, they could have put over Pretty Deadly in such a good way that the loss even meant something. This loss means nothing to them. It's just another loss now.
And to add to this, okay, so when you're watching this match, you're thinking in your head, like, not to say that there's not big wrestlers on NXT or they aren't moving back to NXT like Nakamura and whatnot, but like,
yeah,
Kofi Kingston is too recognizable of a name in WWE because unlike Nakamura, he's always got a push.
Yeah.
And so he's been at the forefront for like 10 years. And to have him be on NXT, you knew it was just for them to win this match so that they could get the 3 tag team titles.
Yeah, the tag team triple crown. They're trying to put New Day in the same vein as FTR right now.
Yes, and I think that they might also get a push for one of the main tag team titles to double title with the NXTs.
I think the opposite. I think the Usos may join in and take the NXT belts off.
Okay, that could be why they gave it to a main card team. But to me, it was like I wanted to like this match, but knowing the outcome already, I was couldn't. Like, I can't.
And the whole Eddie Guerrero thing with the belt, like they're all on the ground after with the belt on the that was just stupid to me.
Okay, but just sidebar, this was the best match so far. I don't know, and you might not agree, but like, and I still
no. This unfortunately, is in terms of in-ring work, this was the best match.
It's just I found it so hard to focus on this match when I knew right from the first second I saw Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods that they were going to win. And it was like,
as soon as they announced them as soon as they announced it on Tuesday on NXT that they were gonna, that's it. Pretty Deadly's losing. The thing is now, what's the tag team that you're gonna lose them? You're gonna make them lose to?
I don't know, because there's no one good enough in NXT to beat them.
Unless which we didn't talk about on the pre-show, there was another match, which was Chase U, Duke Hudson and Andre Chase. They beat Javier Bernal and Zion Quinn. Could they go with the tag Chase U maybe beating the New Day? Because they're both in that comedic type of
I don't know. I outside of what you said with the Usos now, that sounds pretty realistic. I think they might let them go on a ridiculously long run with these. Because they bring so much name recognition to NXT, it's crazy.
But that's working a lot with the guys. Like, it's
trust me, I know and I get it, but like I've said, yes, it's been better since Triple H has come along. It's been the best it's been in like 10 years, maybe even. But it's still like borderline directionless compared to other companies.
I think he's just playing out the rest of these Vince storylines until they're all done.
While they're working on other stuff.
They're not going to go ahead with new stuff unless they have a solid plan of action.
And
that's why this whole bloodline thing is taking so long. They got a long-term plan for Sami Zayn.
I hope so. I really hope so, because I just don't know. And like, not to just crap all over WWE, because AEW right now is a huge mess in terms of what they're trying to figure out. But like, you look at Ring of Honor and you look at Impact, New Japan, they have like a clear set idea of what is happening now.
Like, we are a month away, and the main card, like the main matches for Wrestle Kingdom, are set already.
Okay, New Japan is so clear cut that I can already see what's going to happen at Dominion. Like, it's already like there's a path set, right? And it's crazy. WWE is very all over the place outside of what they're doing with the bloodline. They clearly know what they're doing with that. And we're way off topic. Yeah. But
this is a video. This is a topic for another video. We keep teasing that, but it's coming. And the New Day go over. It makes Pretty Deadly look like crap, basically.
I agree 100%.
And like you said, though, there's no other tag team right now in NXT that can challenge for that. Like, if Pretty Deadly is supposed to be your top team and they get destroyed by the New Day, who's going to beat the New Day? They really,
you know who it's going to be? Now that I'm thinking about it, it's going to be Rick Boogers and Nakamura.
Oh, Boogeyman. Okay.
Because they both do comedy too. So that
Yeah.
could totally
But he's
work.
still hurt, right?
Yeah, but he's not going to be out forever. He's supposed to be
He should
coming
be
back
back
soon,
soon.
right?
Yeah,
It
that's
was at
true.
WrestleMania.
Yeah, we watched it. I remember that. Almost a year ago, guys. Almost a year ago. Yeah, New Day goes over. Nothing happened after that, really. And that's another thing too. Like with all these, like there's 5 matches on this card, maybe totaling an hour and a half. This show was 3 hours long.
It did. Okay, you know what? That's because of those eliminator matches or
But
whatever they're called.
not only that, there was after this match, there was that 25-minute Cora Jade promo.
Oh yeah. So to add to NXT, and like I talk a lot of crap about WWE stuff.
Mhm.
The promos and the vignettes from NXT are so dog shit. It's embarrassing. Like the same team is cutting together those promo videos. How do they suck so bad for NXT?
I don't know. But after that, we get into the men's was it Iron Survivor Challenge? Sounds like an Iron Man suit. It starts off with JD, McDonough, and Axiom, and then eventually what's his name comes in. Yeah, forgot his name now. The Australian guy. Grayson Waller comes in, and then Joe Gacy and Carmelo Hayes eventually follow.
Well,
it was JD and Axiom to start.
Carmelo Hayes is the reason I'm here.
Yeah.
He's
all. Definitely the standout star of this. He's got the brightest future.
He's ahead of Braun Breaker for me in terms of NXT wrestlers. Like he's the best wrestler in NXT.
That's why the finish to this was confusing.
And this entire match was confusing for me. It didn't flow. It had no story. It was just like, and then it tried to build a story in the last minutes between Axiom and
Grayson Waller.
Great. Was it the other guy?
JD McDonough.
JD McDonough. It tried to build a little storyline there, but it's like it's already too late.
Yeah.
You've been running this match for 20 minutes and I don't care at all what's happening. Like so the in-ring work was fine.
Yeah, the in-ring work was good. Like when Carmelo Hayes came in and it was the three-way between Axiom and JD, there was like some innovative offense there that I really, really enjoyed.
There was one spot that I really didn't like. When they were all in the penalty box, or sorry, Axiom and the other guy were in the penalty box, and then he climbed on top.
Yeah, and he did
like a moonsault, but originally nobody was outside of the ring. But they all just came out just for him to do that spot, and then all went back to doing their own things while he kept fighting the guy in the penalty box, which made no sense. And they even positioned the camera in an angle in a way so that you can't see them all coming out of the ring to go.
They're just all of a sudden there. But
you're like, I was like, what?
But there was one really good spot where what's his name throws where Carmelo throws McDonough, or no, was it Axiom throws McDonough to Carmelo and he has him in the headlock, and then Axiom comes and like
drop kicked him or something.
Yeah, and then he DDTs the one guy while he gets clotheslined.
Yeah. There was a few really nice spots in this. It's just they really struggle. Like I said, I'm noticing this with NXT. Yeah. It's a chain of spots where every person, it's not like Kenny Omega's running around doing spot. It's like a chain of spots that leads to a chain of spots that leads to a chain of spots, and there's no story being told. It's just like, how can we?
But that's the thing. In this match, there's nobody with rivalry with someone else. Like
exactly.
You know how right now, Grayson Waller is like, isn't he like, who's he rivaling right now?
I don't freaking know.
I don't know, but I know I know Joe Gacy and them are rival. They have a feud with Cameron Grimes right now. It would have made more sense for Cameron Grimes to be in this match than it would have Axiom.
I agree, and
he's a better worker.
The thing with Gacy that I find weird is that he's
athletic for a big man, though.
He is. I agree. He has like a bit of that Kevin Owens, but the way they treat him is like, holy crap, he's a monster in the ring. He's smaller than everybody else in the ring.
He's smaller than Waller,
and they're all tiny in NXT.
Like height-wise,
and it's like Braun Breaker will crush this guy. Apollo Crews will crush this guy.
Yeah,
but you're playing it like this guy is like
a massive beast.
it's so strange to me. I just found that strange. Not that he's bad. I think he's really good.
No, yeah, he was. Other than Carmelo, he's probably the best worker in the match.
Yeah, it's the choice of angle that they picked.
Yeah,
for him. Of like, oh, it's Casey, like as if Kane came out or something.
Yeah. Well,
like
I mean, the whole gimmick is very similar to Bray Wyatt's original gimmick,
which Bray Wyatt has. Bray Wyatt is Bray Wyatt.
Yeah,
I'm very disappointed.
I'm very That it's been a weird, but that's something for another day. Yeah, Waller comes in, 2 quick pins right away as soon as he comes in. Like he pins Axiom, then he slides over, he pins JD McDonough. I've ran the numbers since coming to NXT from NXT UK. JD McDonough still has not won a match yet,
and he's one of the better wrestlers in the entire company.
Yeah, it's quite unfortunate. I would
his
take
head is just way too big for his body. I think that's the problem.
But I mean, this guy would have thrived in, say, the junior heavyweight in New Japan.
He would have been a huge player in Impact.
He'd be in that X. He'd be one of the top guys in the X division for sure.
He's exactly the kind of guy they like.
Yeah, but I feel he's being wasted in NXT. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird run around, and then everybody with the exception of JD McDonough, who has not scored a pinfall in this match. He's the only person who has not scored a pinfall in any of the Iron Survivors, I believe. And Zoe Stark, she's the other one that never got a pinfall yet. Right at the end, Grayson Waller gets that final pin with 30 seconds left on Axiom. And then they kind of like scramble all over the ring, basically the same type of finish where they're trying to catch him. But like, instead of the 3 of you guys chasing him, why don't you try pinning someone else while he's running around?
Yeah, and also I found it so weird that there's 10 seconds left, okay? Yeah. And everyone is functioning at like a high level.
Yeah.
What? Everyone's running around like maniacs, like as if somehow they're going to be able to knock someone out and get a 3-second pin with 10 seconds left on the clock. Like I would just stand there and be like, all right, the match is over.
Yeah.
Like,
because you see Waller with 3 seconds left. He's like already put his hands in the air. He's like, yeah, I won. That's it.
They did it in both matches. Same thing happened in the women's match. If everyone is up and running, you're not going to get that pinfall with 10 seconds left.
No, especially with everybody would get the last win, the second win, the rush of adrenaline, whatever it is. Like we said, the concept and the idea is good. It just needs some work.
Yeah,
I think so.
But the men's match was far better than the women's.
It was. This was, it had more. It also had more pins, so I think there was more excitement because I would say
every match got progressively better.
Yeah,
so far, starting from the first match, which it seems like a WWE thing now,
to do. Yeah,
which is weird because all other promotions will give you one of the best matches to start to get you immediately ready to go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Waller wins. He is facing Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship at New Year's Evil, where I'm almost dreading reviewing the show now.
Yeah, and you want to know something? They were talking about that before the match even finished. Ended. Yeah. I was like, how are you telling me that Braun Breaker is going to face someone for the title when he's still wrestling for the title right now?
Yeah, they even had the promo where it said Braun Breaker at the end of the match. It was Braun Breaker versus Grayson Waller.
I was like, wait, what? And I'm telling you, I was going to bring that up. That caught me so off guard. I'm like, wait, why are we even watching this match then if they already know that he's going to wrestle for the title? They kept talking about it. The big match in 2 weeks that he has for the title. And I'm like, he's still wrestling for the title. Like, what?
Yeah, that one was a little weird. Then they recap the whole feud between Apollo Crews and Braun Breaker. And then we go into that match. This match started off very slow.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Apollo. You know that. And he's not that he's a bad wrestler. Once again, I think it's an Elba Fire situation where he doesn't know how to tell an in-ring story. Neither does Braun Breaker. But
Braun Breaker's only been doing this for a year.
Yes, and his wrestling raw ability is mental.
Yeah.
I don't think Crews is suited to this these types of matches, I think he needs to be on the main roster where people are good at working together.
Yeah.
Because these indie, like super indie style wrestlers that are on NXT don't work well with a more cinematic style wrestler that he is. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. This Apollo Crews is more suited for like a mid card versus like say a Ricochet or someone of that same type of caliber.
Someone who knows how to tell a long in-ring story. Like he's suited to like an AEW match where these NXT matches are like more like an Impact match where it's just like in the ring, bang, 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 the match is over, and you're like, okay.
What was that? But yeah, it, like I said, I'm not a fan of like the whole test of strength of like for 5 minutes they did like the whole I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like
it's like they tried to do a cinematic thing, but the problem is Braun Breaker is hard to play off because he still doesn't have that.
Yeah. And Apollo Crews is also more of an athletic high flyer type of guy too. He's very agile. He's very like, I get it. Like they were trying to play off, he can beat you not only with strength, but he can beat you with speed. And
they tried to play big muscle guy against big muscle guy. And they thought it was going to work. I mean, okay, to be honest with you, I know we're not done yet, but this was the best match.
This was the best match on the card. Yeah.
And it's like, I can't keep expecting Braun Breaker to be the best match every time.
But the thing is, the best match on a card that's shit is still doesn't say much. You know what I mean? Like,
I just think the planning for this event was not good. Especially when you could have did like what one of the vignettes was. You could have did Toxic Attraction versus those other two girls, and that's an actual situation that's good feud for the tag team belts
against like what's her name, Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley there.
Yeah, exactly.
You could have done that on instead of the Alba Fire, and
you could have did anything with Mandy Rose at this point. And
if you swapped out the Alba Fire match and put that on NXT instead of having the match that we're going to see on Tuesday on NXT tonight, basically of Ivy Nile and Paxley against that would have been better suited for this pay-per-view because there would have been consequences and there'd be something to come out of it. You know what? It could lead the story
especially
somewhere.
When the cartoonish factor of that match suits a weekly episode of a show and not a pay-per-view.
Yeah, the only person who can do that is the Undertaker or Kane. Like, there's not too many people that can.
And if, as you notice, towards the end of their careers, they completely gave up the shtick and just kept the character without any of the nonsense.
Yeah,
like Undertaker just became a normal guy after that, just dresses like the Undertaker.
Yeah, and shoots fire from the pillars, and that's it. But that has to be done. I mean, it was a decent. This was the best match on the card. Doesn't say very much because the match still wasn't.
I mean, okay, it was a good match, but it wasn't like a top tier pay-per-view match.
No,
like, I know nobody's really paying for these anymore, but it's the idea of it, right? Like, if I was paying $39 to watch this, oh my god, I would be.
If it's a special event, make it feel like a special event. This just felt like another episode of NXT with stipulation matches.
Yeah,
to me, like
that was okay. So I want to actually add something in. So I don't usually let this factor for me. You know this. I will complain about it, but the announcing. This is the second time, so we've seen this team, and I complained about it the first time. The announcing is so poor. Booker T is so absolutely brutal. He's the worst person I've ever heard in an announced team ever, period. And I just can't let them get away with this time, and I will be taking away points for it.
Oh, yeah, I did too.
Because I had to listen to this. They tell you nothing of value. They're talking about things that have nothing to do with the match.
Like take someone like even watching like this New Japan tourney that's going on, the Super Junior Worlds and the World Tag League and all that. Even without Kevin Kelly, Chris Carlton is telling you a story. He's telling you something. Even if the guy next to him isn't providing much, he can do.
I don't want to lean too much onto other companies, but like a good example is yesterday when we were showing Putty the match at Worlds Collide.
Yeah.
Chris explains the entire history of what they're about while they're walking out to the ring.
Yeah.
So when you get there, you understand the impact of
and you're invested in it.
And then during the match, they tell you little tidbits about them while they're telling you what's happening in the ring to make you connect with the emotion of everything. Where here, Booker T is telling me how hot girls are, and the other guy is not even talking.
No.
Like, what the hell was that?
She's like my daughter.
She's like my daughter, but she's so hot. Like, what?
Yeah.
And he screams the whole time, too. It was really loud.
Yeah.
It got a little bit frustrating how loud he was.
I also took points away for the announcing this time.
And
like
I
you
just
said,
want
it's
to
unforgivable.
point out how not good the announcing was at the BTW event. And this was like a new level of bad.
Yeah.
Because it's so polished in WWE, to hear it be that clean cut and polished and still be that bad was like, whoa. This is not an indie show. This is like $1 billion company.
That's the thing. At least with the Ricky Dragon one, that was an indie show, and you can understand.
And I felt like, okay, I felt the vibe of the indie show from that. And still, oh my god, what's his name? Douglas. Shane Douglas.
At least he still provided,
giving you knowledge of wrestling and these stories of his past and with the wrestlers in the ring. Booker T's just talking about asses and like drinking Coke, and I don't know what the hell's going on over there.
He's probably going senile, that guy. But yeah, I also took, okay, then with that, then what did you give this show?
Nah, you got to go first.
No, you're doing it first this time.
Okay, I'll tell you my favorite match was Braun Breaker.
Same here.
The worst match was the first match, even though I didn't like the stupid like stuff happening in the Alba Fire match.
The beginning in-ring work was still better.
Wrestling match where the first match was just like a spectacle event where nothing really happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm kind of torn here because I don't know if this is worse than Halloween Havoc.
To me, it was. I gave it a low score. I gave it a 6-7.
Halloween Havoc?
No, this one.
Okay. I was gonna give it a 6-5 to tie it with Havoc, but I'll allow your feelings to rub off on me, and I'll give it a 6.4.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's unwatchable. It's not to the point where I would say don't watch this event, but
you can take little elements from it, like watch the Iron Survivor matches just to see the concept of it.
Yeah, and but it's like, okay, we've watched things, good things, bad things, NWA, Impact, Ring of Honor, like all of these events, Stardom. We're knee deep in this, and at this point of watching it, I've become so critical of dumb things.
But now, especially that we've been doing this for a year now too, we know what we like and we know what's good, and we know what we don't like and we know what's bad, because we've seen it all now.
A lot of it is still opinion based, but at the same time, we now, from seeing such a broad horizon of wrestling, can understand what's objectively good in a wrestling match and what kind of comedy works, what kind of storytelling works, and like there's very little of any sort of narrative in NXT.
Yeah, very much so. What was I saying? What was I thinking? Yeah, because like you're right though. Like people who only watch the WWE product and are not familiar with any product outside of that company, they would think the show is just fine. It's another WWE show.
But even I think WWE fans wouldn't like this.
No way.
Because it's like we've seen good WWE shows this year. Backlash and Mania Day 1 and Clash at the Castle. SummerSlam was pretty decent. And it's just like, oh, the NXT Worlds Collide was amazing.
Yeah.
And then this is like, huh? Like,
it's their only consistency is that they're inconsistent right now.
Yeah, and it's like you could watch this. It's not the worst pay-per-view ever.
If you got a couple hours to kill,
But even like the BTW one, I don't think it was that good, but it was so weirdly entertaining. And Ricky Steamboat is such an important thing in the history of wrestling that it deserved to be a 7.
Yeah.
Right? And like, you can argue with me all you want about that, but like there's nothing here that I looked at that I was like, oh, this needs to be
higher or better. Yeah. I agree. I mean, we're in the same boat. Yeah, you gave it a little lower than I did, but even me, I lower. It's one of the worst ones of the year.
Yeah, I have the 2 lowest rated of the year for sure.
Yeah, you do. All right, so with that out of the way, guys, join us tomorrow for our review of ROH Final Battle, the final pay-per-view of the year for ROH. So with that, we are almost caught up with our reviews. So we'll see you all next time, and have a good day.